is to be a friend to your wife, and that's something that honestly men do find very difficult. But if you want a genuine relationship with your wife, you're going to have to learn to be friends with them, to be companions with them, to open up to be a genuine life partner. The next point. For women, sex is not about the physical pleasure, not at all. The primary motivation for sex is emotional. Men have a physical need for intimacy, and that's why they pursue it, and they go after it, and they initiate it. Women, on the other hand, don't have the physical urge as much as they have the emotional urge. And this is, of course, the general rule. I mean, frankly, let me be blunt here. The escort services, who's servicing whom? The pornography industry, who's servicing whom? It's women servicing men's desires. It's very rare to find the other way around. It's men who desire the physical. What do women want? Romance novels, right? The Hollywood movies about relationships. This is what women want. That's what their stimulus is appealed by. And that's the point that we need to understand. For a woman, sex is about the emotional connection and not necessarily about the physical connection. Therefore, men need to understand that if a woman doesn't feel like it, or doesn't get as enthused about sex as you do, or makes excuses to get out of it, it's nothing to do with you and your performance. Don't take it personally, and don't assume that your wife is any different from any other woman. The problem comes, and I've said this so many times before, when a guy's in love, he automatically wants to have sex with the woman he's in love with. For a woman, being in love means she wants to emotionally connect. And sex is a secondary thing. It's not the primary thing. And we mentioned in our class that a woman's arousal is not like a man's. When she says she's not in the mood, she really is not in the mood. She's not inventing an excuse. It's just that, sexual pleasures are not on as high their list of priorities as it is on a man. A man needs sex. He needs intimacy to unwind and relax. A woman, on the other hand, after a long day of work, after taking care of the kids, after yelling and screaming, really the last thing she wants to do is to have sex. That doesn't relax her as it relaxes men. She'd rather just curl up and go to sleep. She'd rather sit with a novel and drink some tea. And men need to understand it's a natural part of being a woman, that sex does not relax the way that it relaxes in men. Sex is more about the emotional connection than it does about the physical. Now, this doesn't mean that men should now feel hopeless. One of the purposes of our class is to create the ambience, to make the woman aroused, to make her feel sexual, and that's through the languages of love. A woman is aroused when she feels wanted, when she feels pursued, when she feels her husband notices her, vies for her attention, when it's obvious that she is desired. She is not aroused by visual stimulation. Believe me, if a man comes home and takes his clothes off in front of his wife, the wife will literally want to puke. Say, ew, that's disgusting. Whereas if the man comes home and the woman takes her clothes off, this is the man's dream come true, right? It's a wholly different attitude towards the physical element of sex, and by now it should be very clear, and I'll say this as bluntly as possible. How you treat your wife in the kitchen will translate into how your wife treats you in the bedroom. It's as simple as that. The sixth point. Women want to feel beautiful by dressing up, by the clothes that they wear, by the garments that they put on, by the perfume that they put on. And Allah Azza wa Jal Himself says in the Quran that أَوَمَا يُنَشَّأُ فِي الْحِلْيَةِ, that He's talking about women, and He goes that this, the woman who is raised up in an environment of adorning herself, it's in the nature of women to accessorize. What does accessorize mean? Put on makeup, put on earrings, put on jewelry. And when she does this, then husband or man, you need to realize that she's doing this in order for you to notice her, in order for you to show your attraction and appreciation. It is one of the worst crimes you can do as a husband, that when your wife changes her hairstyle, you don't notice it. When the wife dresses up, you don't comment about it. And by not noticing her accessorize, by not noticing her dress up, by not noticing her beautify herself, realize that you have killed any future attempt in order for her to beautify herself. Men, you need to take a mental notice when your wives dress up and when your wives change their appearance. And the flip side of this, never ever stare at another woman in your wife's presence. Of course, you shouldn't do this anytime. Allah Azza wa Jal has not allowed us to do this. But wallahi, brothers, even non-Muslims who don't believe in Allah realize how crude and how vulgar it is to stare at another woman right in front of your wife. You're destroying her self-confidence. You're destroying her love for you. Also realize that it's simply undignified. It's simply not going to get you anywhere to crack jokes about a second wife in front of her. I'm not making fun of the concept of a second wife. What I'm saying is, do you really think your wife is going to love you more? Do you really think that's going to make her appreciate you more if you casually throw in every second sentence a joke about a second wife? That's not the way to do it. And our Prophet ﷺ never once joked about another woman, even if he married one. He didn't crudely throw it as a taunt every time something happened. That's not the way of a gentleman. You need to show your wife that she is the most important, the most beautiful object on earth. And that's not going to be done if you stare at other women. And the final point that I want to mention, don't rationalize every single problem that a woman comes to you with. Remember, for a woman, it's emotional more than it is rational. One of the biggest differences between men and women is they want to think things through without any emotion. Just the cold, hard, bare facts. And that's not why the woman is coming to you. She's coming for empathy and sympathy. Don't view this as being any better or worse than you. It's just the way that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created her. And that's exactly what our Prophet ﷺ referenced. That, look, you cannot get a woman to think like a man. He said in that famous hadith that a woman was created from a rib, and a rib is crooked, and the most crooked part is the highest part. Now, this is a long hadith about what this means, but the bottom line is the Prophet ﷺ is saying, you cannot make a woman like a man. If you try to do it, you're going to break her, and breaking her means divorcing her. You have to benefit from her as she is, which means emotionally, physically, physiologically, psychologically, emotionally, she is different from the man. In conclusion, brothers and sisters, men and women, husbands and wives, realize وَلَيْسَ الذَّكَرُ كَالْأُنْثَى, the man is not like the woman. جزاكم الله خيرا والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.